causes of the 19th century. It follows a number of characters through a difficult period in French history, culminating in the June Rebellion of 1832. In this next piece, 7th grader Justin Moreno will present Jean Valjean, our conflicted protagonist, as he wrestles with the sin of his past.
Jean Valjean went to imprisonment, weeping, and trembling. He emerged impassive. He had gone despairing. He emerged grim-faced. What had taken place in this man's soul? We must try to answer the question. It is very necessary that society should look upon these matters, since they are the work of society. He was an untutored man, as we have said, but that is not to say that he was stupid. There was a spark of natural intelligence in him, and adversity, which sheds its own light, had begun to foster the light slowly dawning in his mind. Under the lash and in chains, on fatigue and in the solitary cell, under the burning Mediterranean sun, and on the prisoner's plank bed, he withdrew into his own conscience and reflected. Constituting himself judge and jury, he began by trying his own case. He admitted he was not an innocent man unjustly punished. He had committed an excessive and blameworthy act. The loaf of bread might not have been refused to him if he had asked for it, and in any event, it would have been better to wait, either for charity or for work. The argument, can a man wait when he is half starved, is not an answer. For the fact is, very few people literally die of hunger. Man is so constituted that he can withstand long periods of suffering, both moral and physical, without dying. He should have had patience, and this would have been better even for the children. To attempt to take society by the throat, vulnerable creature he was, and to assume he could escape poverty through theft, had been an act of folly. In any case, the road leading to infamy is a bad road to escape. He made it all this, in short, that he had done wrong. But then he asked questions. Was he the only one at fault in this fateful business? Was it not a serious matter that a man willing to do work should be without work and without food? And to admitting the offense and not the punishment been ferocious and outrageous? Was not the law more at fault in the penalty inflicted than he had been in the crime he had committed? And not the scales of justice been overweighted on the side of expiation? And did not this weighting of the scales, far from effacing the crime, produce a quite different effect? Namely, a reversal in the situation, substituting for the original crime the crime of oppression, making the criminal a victim, and the law its debtor, transferring justice to the side of him who had offended against it? Did not the penalty, aggravated by his attempts to escape, become in the end a sort of assault by the stronger unto the weaker, a crime committed by society against an individual and repeated daily for 19 years? He asked himself whether human society had the right to impose upon its members. On one hand, its mindless improvidence, and on the other hand, its merciless providence. To grind a poor man into the millstones of need and excess, need for work, and excessive punishment? Was it not monstrous that society should treat in this fashion precisely those least favored in the distribution of wealth, which is a matter of chance, and therefore those most needing indulgence? He asked these questions, and having answered them, passed judgment on society. He condemned it to his hatred. He held it responsible for what he was undergoing, and resolved that, if the chance occurred, he would not hesitate to call it to account. He concluded that there was no true balance between the wrong he had done and the wrong they had inflicted upon him. And although his punishment might not technically be an injustice, it was beyond question an iniquity. Anger might be ill-considered and absurd. We might be mistakenly angered, but only when is there some deep-seated reason are we outraged. Jean Valjean